Your neighbor didn't miss the property line by a few inches, 8 feet inside your yard.
You've still got plenty of lawn. I'm not paying to move it.
Then whatever happens on those 8 feet from now on is your problem.
2 days after I discovered the missing strip while mowing my lawn, Carl showed up early that Wednesday morning in a dusty pickup truck that looked like it had been driving around property lines for the last 30 years. Gray beard, sunburned neck, ball cap that said Midwest Survey Services. The kind of guy who didn't say much at first, but clearly knew exactly what he was doing. He stepped out, looked around the yard, and gave a slow nod. "Nice lot," he said. "Thanks," I replied. "Hopefully, it's still mine." He chuckled under his breath like he'd heard that sentence 1,000 times. Carl spent the next 3 hours walking every inch of the property. He set up his tripod, peered through measuring scopes, checked old markers buried in the soil, and referenced county records he had printed out on thick paper. While he worked, I mostly stayed out of the way, sitting on the porch with a cup of coffee and pretending not to watch every move he made. About halfway through the process, Tyler stepped out onto his back deck. He leaned against the railing, arms crossed, staring down at Carl like someone watching a mechanic work on a car they were sure didn't need fixing. Ashley joined him a minute later. She whispered something to him, and they both glanced over at me. Nobody waved. Nobody said anything. The tension was quiet, but it was there. Around late morning, Carl walked over toward me, wiping his hands on a rag. "Well," he said, "I've got your line." My stomach tightened a little. Then he pointed toward the fence. "You were right, not close, not a little, right." Then he grabbed a bundle of bright orange flags from the truck. Carl started placing them in the ground one by one, moving in a straight line across the back of the yard. Every single flag landed several feet in front of the new fence. When he finished, the line of orange markers sat about 8 feet inside Tyler and Ashley's enclosed yard. Carl stepped back, looked at the line, and nodded. "Textbook," he said. I walked out there and just stood for a second, taking it in. 8 feet of my land, completely sealed off behind their brand new fence. I asked Carl to send me the official survey documents. And before he left, I snapped about a dozen photos showing the flags lined up perfectly along the real property boundary. Then I emailed everything to Tyler. Photos, survey, a short message. "Hey Tyler, I had the property surveyed today. Looks like the fence ended up about 8 feet inside my lot. Attached are the measurements. Let me know when you want to talk about moving it." That felt fair, professional, reasonable. 3 days passed. No response. 4 days. Nothing. A week later, I knocked on their door again. This time, Ashley answered. She looked slightly uncomfortable when she saw me. "Hey," she said. "Hi," I replied. "Is Tyler around?" She hesitated for a moment, then called over her shoulder. "Tyler, it's the neighbor." He walked into the hallway a few seconds later. Same casual expression, same relaxed posture. I explained what the survey showed and asked if he'd had a chance to look at the email. "Oh, yeah," he said. That was it. Just, "Oh, yeah." So I asked, "And?" He rubbed the back of his neck. "Look, man," he said, "moving that fence is going to cost a lot of money." I waited. He continued. "The company already finished the job. The posts are set in concrete and everything." Another pause. Then he delivered the sentence that honestly still makes me laugh when I think about it. "You still have plenty of yard." I blinked. "Are you seriously suggesting I give you 8 feet of my property?" He shrugged like it was the most normal idea in the world. Fences end up a little off sometimes. That was the moment the conversation stopped being a misunderstanding. It became a choice, and he had just made his. I looked at him for a long second. He held the same indifferent expression. Then he gave a little half smile and said, "Anyway, we're pretty busy right now." And he closed the door. Just like that. Now, I'll admit something. For the rest of that afternoon, I was furious. Not yelling furious, not break something furious, just that slow, simmering kind of anger that sits quietly in your chest while your brain starts turning over possibilities. I walked out into the yard again and stared at the fence. On the other side of it, Tyler's new landscaping was pristine, fresh sod, stone edging, a brand new wooden deck attached to the back of their house. They'd spent a fortune making that yard look nice. And 8 feet of my grass was sitting right in the middle of it. That evening, I opened up the county property records online. I pulled up the parcel map, zoomed in, then zoomed in further. And there it was. That narrow strip of land behind their fence, still legally attached to my lot number, which meant something important. The fence didn't change ownership. The land was still mine. And according to the local ordinances, a property owner had the right to install structures, landscaping, or improvements on their own land, even if access was inconvenient. I leaned back in my chair slowly. An idea started forming. At first, it was just a small thought. Then it started getting bigger, and funnier, and a little bit poetic. And if you think Tyler crossed the line when he said, "You still have plenty of yard," comment "Move the fence" below. Share this story with someone who would never surrender 8 feet of their property, and follow to see what I decided to build on that land.